race. It was a fun one. Man, that's pretty good, Matthew. Good job on that.
You were working that crowd, boy.
I was not working the crowd.
You were. Hey, shout out to my dad. Well, grown man crying in the stands at that point. They had him. He hooked him.
I was just saying what was on my mind, Mike.
I got you.
They went nuts.
They did go.
Yeah,
nuts.
no, it was great.
It was
I would,
fun.
you get introed at races, people cheer for you and so forth, but that was definitely the best experience for me when it comes to crowd reaction throughout pretty much my whole career.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me that moment was very special and emotional. I had no idea everybody enjoyed the day that as much as I did, I guess.
Is that right?
Yeah, you don't know. Fifth place is not fifth. Well, we were sixth at the moment. In the moment, we're all cheering a sixth place finish.
Right.
The most celebrated sixth place finish in the history of the sport, I believe. And
in the Xfinity Series, for sure.
For sure.
Right. But the stands were packed. First of all, the crowd up for that Saturday race was incredible.
Awesome.
And they were loud the whole time.
During the race.
Oh yeah, man. It was the atmosphere was so cool just on Saturday. It was so neat. And then when you got out, I wasn't trying to say that you were intentionally working the crowd. I know exactly what you were feeling
sensitive.
so good. You were feeling so good about that because, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were nervous going into the race.
Yeah. I think I said that a million times.
A million times. Yeah.
So
you thought you were going to suck.
Well, I didn't think I was going to suck. I was just prepared mentally for any kind of, result. God, man, you can't get yourself all psyched up for this. You're going to run one race, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine doing just one podcast a year.
Right.
Instead of, and someone, there's 50 podcasts, or how many do we do?
Yeah, we do enough, but we take 1 week off, and it's like we never done one before.
But you're going to get to do one, right?
Right.
And so do you go in there going, man, I'm going to kick this podcast
This is going to be award winner. This is going to win them. This is going to win them podcast awards.
I'm about to do the best. I'm going to do the best podcast. I don't have that. Some people do that. Some competitors, athletes have that mindset where they are going to go in and kill it.
They psych themselves out.
Yeah, well, or up.
Or you think they believe? No, that's what I mean. Yeah, they build themselves up.
Yeah, and it works sometimes.
Yeah.
It's whatever works for everybody. My wife, I talk about this all the time. So my wife believes in the law of attraction. So she believes that something's good's going to happen leading into the event, right? Into the moment. She thinks you bring that positivity on yourself and you get a great result. If you bring negativity into your mind and your thoughts, that you're going to have a bad result. So she believes the opposite that I believe, whereas I aim low. I go in with low expectations so that if it doesn't go well, if it doesn't meet my hopes, then I'm, hey, all right, I can deal with it.
You're not as let down on the back
I'm not
end.
So going into that deal, I haven't raced all year. I picked a very tough racetrack. Denny Hamlin even said it. He don't think he would have picked that track if he was in my situation.
He wasn't the only one that said that.
Really? Because I didn't read that article. It's from The Athletic, right?
Right.
I didn't have the subscription, so I only got like the first paragraph.
You can only read the teaser.
So you can let me know what the rest of it said. But so
baller on a budget.
Well, that's like the first Athletic article I've ever clicked on.
Steve Letarte, Jeff Gluck would love to hear that.
Sorry, Jeff.
Steve Letarte had said, a lot of people had said, Darlington, really? That's the first one. But hey, this throwback weekend, it all lined up for you to be able to run that paint scheme. But yeah, Thursday night, you and I were doing that little foundation event, and we were doing a Q&A with the fans. And I said, okay, who has never ridden in a car? We had about 10 or 12 people that raised their hand. And you were not even – I want to say you weren't confident even then, but you were clearly like, I don't know exactly what this car is going to do when we go out there, y'all. It may get a little – You made it seem like it was a little precarious. Am I wrong? Did I read that wrong?
Of course.
Yeah. So these people were raising their hand, and they were like, "Oh,
what does the general public think about?" I just really am kind of surprised by that. I guess I'm taking that the general public thinks that you're going to hop in that car, and that car is going to perform perfectly.
The general public doesn't know how hard it is.
Yeah.
And I am one, by the way.
Yep.
I mean, unless we've ever driven a car.
But this
you
is
you just don't know.
I know. This is a track that's just fickle as hell.
Right.
All right. And I'm getting in a 2-seater car to take people around for laps.
Right.
And the first guy getting in is going to weigh 125 pounds. The next guy that climbs in the car is 225 pounds. So, you're strapping like 100 pounds of weight. You're not only putting that much weight on the right side of the car, which we would never do in a race car,
right,
but you're varying the weight from passenger to passenger, and that's going to affect the way the car drives. And so I've never driven this car. Don't know what they've got under the car for a setup. Don't know what tires I've got on the car. Don't know if these are the tires that now Goodyear recommends for this particular racetrack. I have no clue.
I know.
I don't know what the nose weight is, the cross weight. I don't know where the track bar is. I don't know what springs are in the car, shocks are on the car. I don't know whether it meets minimum rules on weight, whether it's 3,400 pounds, 2,800 pounds. I have no idea how much power the motor has, whether it's an Xfinity motor, whether it's a crate motor, whether it's a drag motor. I don't know
a drag motor.
All right. I have no idea what this car is going to do. No clue.
These ride-arounds sounded like a good idea at the time. Maybe we should find other ways to raise funds.
It's not a dangerous thing. All I'm saying is
Really?
that, no, it's not. I'm not going to go out there and drive it over the limit. I'm going to go out there and work, learn, just like they're going to learn about what it's like to go around the track. I'm going to learn this new race car that I've never driven.
When you came back around for the first time,
Yeah.
we literally cheered. we were so happy. I mean, I'm talking about in the ride-around. Saturday was another whole thing, but when you came back and completed the first lap, we're like, he kept it off the wall.
Oh, my gosh. I was not worried about
it. It seemed like I should have been even more happy considering
I
all the
wasn't
things
worried.
you just said.
I wasn't worried about, I don't know that I was concerned about hitting anything. I was just worried about giving that person the genuine
Right.
experience. And so we borrowed this car from Hendrick Motorsports, and it is a very competitive car, very comfortable car. It was awesome. Anyways, we're talking about this ride around.
I know.
But
there's such a better part of the weekend we should be talking about on the ride.
Well, yeah, all right. We got.
But anyways,
bit.
yeah.
But I got to ask you, how did when you drove the actual race car on Saturday? Okay, how different did it drive? How did it meet your expectations? Let's actually go back to Friday when you were in practice.
Yeah. First lap on the track. Oh, man, I was glad.
Really?
Yeah, the car was awesome. Very
Wow.
comfortable.
It's that crew chief.
Well, I have to say that I went there and ran a couple laps in a test a couple months ago, and that wasn't comfortable. The car didn't drive good. The car was out of control. I was white knuckling it. My heart rate was through the roof. Everything was bad, right? And so I've got a lot of gray hairs worrying about whether, from that moment on, there were a couple months for the race weekend, and so I worried every single day about, man, is that how it's going to be? We're going to have to go back there and run that Xfinity race, and that's the way it's going to drive. I was very nervous.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of gray hairs over that. But when I hit the track for the first practice, the car was really good, and I was very comfortable. The back was hooked up, the front was hooked up, and so, man, I had a huge smile on my face. And then it went from no longer really worrying about how comfortable the car was, because it checked all the boxes. But then it got to, my mind went to just thinking, man, I'm going to just enjoy running each of these laps.
Yeah.
And then Taylor would, I'd either quit or he'd call me in, and we'd come in and talk about making an adjustment. And we changed a few things in those two practices, but no, usually, when you come to the racetrack, there's not a lot of confidence that you're going to make a change at the track that's going to really change and improve your car. That happens, but it's rare, and it's gotten more and more rare as the preparation and so forth leading into the races has gotten so much better. They're basically able to sim these cars into a pretty awesome setup in the shop and throughout the week. So when the car gets there, it's about as good as it's going to get. Mm-hmm. And so when you unload a car, it's not comfortable. It's a bit concerning more so these days than it was years ago, because it's hard to make them any better at the racetrack anymore. But we had fun. We practiced. Race was fun. Everything went well, man. I was even a little surprised by how well we moved up as the race started, because I screwed up in qualifying big time.
You said that.
I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but
What'd you do?
going into turn one, the car got loose, and I was just trying real hard not to pull a backup car out
Right.
all weekend. I didn't want to do anything that was going to be hard on the team or embarrassing or, I don't want to come in there and step on my toes too bad. But so I was probably a little gun shy would be the way I would describe it going into qualifying. And, we probably should have qualified 8th, right around there. But anyways, 14th wasn't awful. I just knew that, man, it's going to be hard to pass, and I need to be aggressive. I was thinking all night long, like leading up to the race, like, man, I need to be aggressive on the restarts. I need to try to take every opportunity I can to get these guys, and I don't need to wait on a restart and think I'm going to drive through them over the duration of a run, because at Darlington, the cars can tend to get spread out. You battle a guy for a position, and the guy in front of you is drove away by half a straightaway. And then it's take you forever to catch that guy, and even though you may be better than him. But so I knew on the restarts I had to be real aggressive, and man, we got a good handful of them right away.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that was cool. I didn't expect that. So made the rest of the afternoon easy. We sat there and run around 7th place all day long. I thought we had a top 3 car on the long run, around lap 40 to 50. We were very, very fast. Just didn't have the fire-off speed. At the first 10 or 15 or 20 laps of a run, the car was super, super tight, and I was really on defense, trying to keep the guys from passing me on restarts for the first handful of laps. And, the top 5 would get out about a half a straightaway to a straightaway in front of me. And then after 20 laps, we either held them there or maybe even gained on some of those guys from 3rd to 6th. And then at the end of the day, a couple guys had some problems. The 7 got in the fence a lot. That was a spot that we gained. Ended up 6th crossing the line. We were better than the 20 car on long runs and could get by him into the top 5 late in the race. But then we got another late caution. That was not good for me because of our short run speed not being all that awesome, and he was able to beat us on that last restart. But then they threw him out, and that put us into the top 5 as far as finishing. So I was thrilled.
Listen, I know that you're too humble to give yourself too many props, so I'll do it for you. You've had 2 retirement races, and you finished in the top 5 in both of them,
yeah.
Richmond and Darlington. Richmond, that was a track that was one of your favorites. Darlington, though, again, I think it can't be overstated how difficult that would be just to go in there and not have raced all year, and you still finish in the top 5. So, man, I tell you what, as happy as you were, and it's one of the happiest I've seen you, I think, ever after a race. You were so excited. And I was happy for you because I thought it was a job well done.
Thank you, man.
Really, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But by the way, I did have to say one of my most enjoyable moments was watching your battle with Christopher there, where you guys swapped, because I was actually watching and going, I know he's having fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I went up to Christopher at the end of the race and was like, I was like, man, I had a good time, and he didn't have that same experience. He was not happy. He was more thinking, man, we didn't do what I thought we should have done. He in his mind feels like he needs to be running up front, leading laps, winning races, and I get it. He'll hopefully maybe look back either a couple days later or years down the road and think, man, that was pretty fun. But yeah, I had a blast racing Brandon Jones, and me and him had some pretty good little battles there, and a couple other guys out there. A lot of fun.
I was curious because you mentioned one time during the race about how you were watching Christopher Bell burn his tires up.
Well,
go ahead.
So we were running, and he slid the back tires off of turn 4, and I knew like that. Right when you do that, it's cost you some time. Like your car is going to be a little slower. You don't recover from that at Darlington, and I wasn't catching him, and he slid them rear tires big time, and then he came to me. I was like, yeah, burn them up. So
did you ever hit the wall?
I rubbed it, yeah. When we passed Brandon Jones, I was in the fence, and I think when I passed the 20, I was in the fence, because there's a little knot in the wall just before the center of turn 3. You roll up into the corner and get right against the wall, and the wall kind of has a knot in it right there, and it'd go boom, and but then the wall goes back away from you. That little knot sticks out there, and it'd clip that little bump on the wall.
Did it give you a feeling of nostalgia? Like, I remember you. I remember you from all those years. That's right. There's that wall.
You know what it was is when you drive the cars week after week after week, you get a great understanding of where all the corners are. I can almost, it's almost like the car becomes part of your body. Like I know exactly where the right front corner is, and I could drive that right front corner, kind of like where where the tires on your car are when you're parking, and when you're about to hit the curb.
Sure.
Like man, I'm inches from the curb. And you get out and look, and you're inches from the curb. You know it because you drove that car time and time again
100%.
Into a curb, right? Into a parking spot. Well, when you race every single week, you get a real understanding of exactly where the corners of the car are. And so, not having drove, when I hit the wall, I was like, oh, I didn't think I was close. So that was I was a little nervous about that. Wow. We was running around real close to the wall in turns 2. And, man, we're running so fast there that if you clip the right rear, it's going to put you in the fence, like suck you into the wall and put the right front in the fence. And so it made me a little apprehensive, I think, because I hit the wall in 3, and I was like, man, I thought I had another 6 inches. So the right rear was way out there, further than I thought. That was what went through my head when I bumped the fence. But, yeah, man, it was great. We ran the high line into 1 and off 2. That was fun. It's very treacherous, pretty white-knuckled experience, but fun to be able to do that. I got everything I wanted out of that whole race and being able to drive the car and enjoy it and battle some guys and have some fun catching and passing people and doing stuff like that.
That's what it's all about.
That's right.
I'll never be